that note, welcome to another great episode of The White Straight Man and His Two Black Friends.
Talking about Married to Medicine.
There you go. Welcome to another episode of You're Not My Type, Bro, the absolute coolest show in the world right now. Trust me, I wouldn't lie to you. We're not married. I'm Marko. I got Duane here.
I got a new line with that one, bitch.
And Duane The Rock Johnson here next to me, Carl Weathers. You
D2.
look good.
I'm about to say.
There you go.
D2.
Let's get the complexion right.
We have a great episode for you today. I have the absolute privilege of moderating, narrating. What's the difference? I'm a foreigner.
Moderating.
I lost
making
interest.
sure things
Yeah,
flow.
who cares?
Narrating, you would just be talking over us like you do anyways.
Moderating.
And ladies and gentlemen, we're going to start. We have a very exciting episode for you. Of course, remember, follow, subscribe, stalk us on social media.
Mm-hmm.
I expect
loves stalkers.
Yeah, I love stalkers.
Comment, please.
Please
Send
comment.
photos, send nudes.
Send those.
And we're going to start the segment with cocktails and complaints. Whoop. Cheers. Since I have the privilege of moderating this great episode, I can kind of decide who goes first. You know what? We're going to go around the cyclonic. So, Duane, why don't you start us off with your cocktail and complaint of the week? Bam, bam, bam. Let's hear it.
Let me look at my complaints.
You had to pull out the list of
I just have 4. I was actually, you know what? This one, I'm not going to do an actual complaint. I'm going to do the opposite. It's gonna
You
be
never
fun.
do a complaint anymore.
That's a lie. I did that one episode, and you're holding on to it.
Yeah, I am. I got nothing else to hold on to.
That's right. Surrender.
So I actually do.
I want you to be angry.
But I want to do a commendation because I got into an Uber yesterday. The guy was like super. Ahmad, this is for you. He was super nice, and like he was so nice, and he had like one of those. It was like an Infinity SUV, and I did like a regular Uber. I don't know how.
Infinity SUV.
That's a $100,000 car.
Yeah,
You're driving
like,
Uber?
Yeah, and he just picks me up, and I'm like, shit, did I hit the wrong one? But anyways.
I thought you meant like an infinity pool. I don't know where my mind went. I don't know where my mind went.
The manufacturer.
Infinity, the manufacturer, yes.
So I get in, and he's super nice. So I comment on his like super polished black leather seats, and he's talking to me, and he was just saying to me, it's like, thank you for like being positive. He goes into this whole thing. He's like, you have to look at things positive. He's like, I just got into an argument with my wife. And she was telling me how she's like, you're always talking to people, and you're always positive, and she's like, you can't be so like. Basically, that he's always looking at and he says this: the glass is always half full.
I already dislike the guy.
But like, and I agree with him though. I was like, you know what? I try to do the same thing. I was like, because if you focus on the negative, it expands. And then you also pull other negative things too. You're going to go down a rabbit hole, and you sit in that place, and then other things just start falling into place that are also negative. But if you look at things positively, or look at like bad experiences, where people call bad experiences, if you look at it as a lesson, like, what the fuck did I just learn from this?
Yeah.
It really shifts the whole mindset. So instead of doing complaint, I wanted to give him a commendation and do something positive instead of that, because I also kind of felt bad coming to here today and complaining after I told
Make sure
him.
you edit this whole
he
segment
dropped
out.
you off today. He dropped you off today.
This is last night.
Okay,
I was
okay.
going out last night, and I was just like, well, I'm going to go. He's talking about not complaining. We were both talking about it. Like, no one really wants to hear you complain anyways. And I was like, well, I have to go shoot this episode, and I'm going to be complaining. Maybe in honor of Ahmad, it's for you, not complaining, giving him a commendation. So
It's not Ahmad, it's Ahmad.
well, thank you for that.
Listen, we have
Like he knows exactly where he comes from, and wants his name said like that.
Ahmad.
we have 2 more complaints and 3 topics or whatever it is we're doing. So you're bound to complain about something. Give me a second. It's gonna come up.
Theo, let's hear it.
Okay, so
And you next week better have a real complaint that makes me angry about something. I don't want to be happy.
okay, so
Can I complain about
give
you?
him that look.
Please.
Complain about him.
That will count.
This is something that you're gonna vibe with and you're gonna relate with.
Well, I love it.
Because
love
you
it.
are a motorcyclist. You used to
I
be a
was,
motorcyclist.
yes. Until 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
And my complaint of the
sold it
week is the
30 years.
behavior of motorcyclists.
Yes.
Maybe I'll say is specifically to Los Angeles, California, because we have terrible traffic, and they think that they are, I don't know what they think they are, Sonic the Hedgehog, and they can zoom, 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 zoom in between cars, and then when they get almost tapped, they want to try and fight somebody. Not to say that that happened to me. It didn't happen to me, but what really started to irritate me about this is I was going to the gym, and I was turning into a parking space. Just like, oh, yeah, there's a spot, free and clear. There was a motorcycle in the full-size parking space. And I'm just like, this space is not meant for you. Why are you taking up this entire parking
And
space?
you could have parked this shit anywhere.
I could have, exactly. You could have parked it
That's
anywhere.
the whole point of you having that.
And the thing about it was, I almost damn near ran into it because I couldn't see it because it was blocked
So you
by
were into...
Yes, I got into the space and then I was like, oh shit. And then that's where the motorcycle was. So I'm just like, why are you parking in these spots? You're not a car. And then it just brought me to the behavior of how when we're on the freeway, how motorcyclists act. And they just cut in. And I get it. You're trying to get somewhere super fast and you're the most important person and you need to be there immediately. So you can't take time to wait behind any vehicles. And you're just zooming. And then when you get hit or you get tapped by a car, then you want to sue the person that's driving that car. Yeah. And I know we don't have that culture here in the U.S. Like, go to Europe. I think accidents are probably less likely in Europe because they're used to motorcyclists. We here in the U.S.
They know how to drive in Europe. That's
too, sure. Yeah, sure. That
we
too.
have an autobahn with no speed limit and no accidents per year. Think about that. Yeah.
Sure, true. But it's just this frustrating thing of I feel like. You said that you felt like, both of you said you felt like Prius drivers were entitled.
Yeah.
I kind of feel that way a little bit with motorcyclists. And like I said, I knew that you were a big motorcyclist, so I'm interested to hear your opinion about this. First thing to notice is the parking spot.
Yeah.
Because that could have been an accident.
Well, the parking thing is a dick move. The reason he did it is because California allows him to do it. You know, in a lot of places you're actually not allowed to park in the karting. You have dedicated motorcycle parking here. Right. It's kind of a double-edged sword, you know. And you're right, you can park that fucking thing anywhere. You know, I always try to make sure I don't take a full spot, especially in a busy lot. You know, so that's just a dick move. I've been riding for 31 years. I have almost 1 million miles on motorcycles. Mm-hmm. And 2 weeks ago, I sold my Harley. This is the longest I've been without a motorcycle. It was my daily driver. I've never been without, because I caught myself wanting to kill people. And and rightfully so. You know, I don't need my life taken at age 46 because a 16-year-old is on the phone and can't drive to fucking begin with. And the thing is, it's never been more dangerous in the history of riding. And I know what I'm talking about. It just so happens I've been a rider for 1 million miles all over the world. It's never been more dangerous to be on the motorcycle because back in the day before the iPhone, you had nowhere to look in the car but outside. There was really nothing to do. Yeah. Remember? Now and we're all guilty. I'm not a choir boy, and you're like that. And the shit is dangerous. And when you're on the bike, you're a little bit higher, you can see into the cockpit. And so motorcyclists are not only defensive to begin with, but when they see that shit, it makes them extra aggro. Yeah. Justified to a certain point. Now I don't know how far you want to take that, it's a very vicious cycle. It's never been more dangerous to be on the motorcycle. And let me tell you something: when a guy like me decides to sell his bike,
a
Harley or anything, you know. But like I said, I've been more in motorcycles than in car, and that's a big fucking statement. So it tells you, and you know, the whole point is actually that it's safer for the motorcycle to split lanes. Mm-hmm. They want you to split lanes. That's why they allow it. Because
I was
going to
ask about that because in South Carolina, correct. I always thought when I first got here, 2011, I remember being in LA and like just kind of being like taken aback and like it would almost like scare me a little bit. Like you can't see it coming, and then this motorcycle just zooms right.
Well, that's your city.
Your window.
Yeah.
Where I'm from in South Carolina, you can't do that.
Right.
You have to obey the traffic laws as if you are
a car.
You are a car.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I always thought I know that they're not doing anything illegal, but what if I just made I didn't signal or I did something
100%,
and I just nicked you because I think there's a car right next to me,
Correct.
or I don't think there's a car.
Absolutely.
So I'm moving into this lane, and here you come zooming up the middle.
And the crotch trucker guys, they go 100 miles an hour between cars, and that's just stupid. That's idiocy. The splitting lane is meant for you as a privilege because it does save you time. It actually saves everybody.
It does.
It's safer that way because when you're in a freeway or actually in traffic, cars don't move. So it's a great time saver. But what some of the guys on their Ducatis do is just plain stupid. You know what I mean? The reason I was very lucky is because I never did stupid stuff. And I'm on the Harley, I got a little bit more volume so you can hear me. Cars go aside. But you know how many times I go boom, boom, and the bitch is like, while steering with her knees.
And they probably see you.
Yeah.
They just don't
Yeah.
care.
Well, but and that's another thing.
Yeah.
The law states you're supposed to move aside.
Yeah.
I mean, I
So-
understand it more when you're talking about being like on the 101 and being stuck in the traffic jam and cars
Yeah.
aren't moving and you're going
Yeah.
in between the cars at a steady pace where cars aren't moving, so you
Yeah.
know that they're not going to hit you.
Right.
I understand it more in that regard.
Yeah.
But the other way around, when the flow of traffic is normal and they're doing it, like
It's
just
stupid. No, it's
I don't
absolutely dumb.
understand it.
Listen, there's no need to lane split when the cars are going 50 miles or
Yeah.
more. You know what I mean? And it's a vicious cycle. And in Europe, like I said, in Switzerland, for example, getting your driver license, you have to actually learn how to drive a car.
Yeah.
Here you show up and do it in an afternoon, and you just have But that doesn't help. Today's youth is dumber than ever. They're on the phone more than ever. No, they are. No, they are. They just that's how I see it, because it's, to me, that's a fact. And I'm not here to be nice. I'm here to be real. And I've caught myself in the last two years several times, and I'm not violent. I've never been violent, but I caught myself in a situation where I really wanted to pull that person over and beat him.
Yeah.
Beat him with my helmet. And that's when you realize, you know
can
what,
see you
man.
doing it too.
Yeah, and I was like, dude, I don't want to die at the hands of some 16-year-old Armenian chick on the phone.
Right, with a gun.
Yeah.
I really, I really don't, man. So.
That's not the way to go.
Yeah.
So I was like, I want to sell my Harley. It was heartbreaking. So this is 2 weeks now, and it's the longest time I've ever been without a motorcycle.
Well, one less motorcyclist on the road and taking up spots that I need to be parking in. So
I would have loved.
You wouldn't do that anyway.
No, I'm pretty
wouldn't
pretty
do that.
considerate, man. I talk a lot of smack, but I'm pretty considerate.
Yeah, I believe you.
Yeah, that's a
now
great-
that ex-wife of yours,
No.
she would have parked that fucking bike.
She would have, yeah, on 2 spots.
She was
She
sideways,
was like-
sliding in.
She had to be heard, right?
Yeah,
She had to be heard, man. Some relationships are meant for you to be friends afterwards. Yeah.
I love that. I really
Oh man, my turn. My complaint is, you guys are gonna love this. I billed my doctor's office for waiting for 45 minutes past my appointment time. True story.
You build your doctor's office.
Yeah, no, we're fucking done with me showing up at 2:00, and somehow you thinking that the 2:00 means 3:00 appointment.
I want to know how they responded.
Oh no, they paid.
No,
Did they?
they did not.
Dude, I'm a vicious see you next Thursday when I feel justified in something. And the chick on the front, when she got the email, she thought I was joking. And she actually called me because they know me. I was like, no, this is now the 5th time I'm there. And we're doing this shit where I'm always on time. And for me, being on time means being early.
Yeah.
And I built them. I heard somebody doing that actually on years back on Howard. I can't even remember where I heard it. And I was so pissed, dude. And then, the whole traffic home and everything, and being a 6-hour turnaround for freaking going to, Tarzana and back to the Cedars office there. And it's just this fucking thing where somehow, and especially with doctors' offices, it's somehow okay.
Yeah.
Right.
It's somehow okay to give you, and then just the other day,
It's an honor or
Yeah.
whatever for them to.
yeah, it's like I showed up at 11 and 11:40.
There's a lot of doctors in LA.
Dude.
Like, fuck you.
Yeah,
You know what?
very true.
I'm adapting to not being that considerate anymore because the consideration is not reciprocated very much anymore. So I'm like, you want to play the See You Next Thursday game?
Mirror.
I'm for it.
Match energy.
I'm all for it.
Match
How much did he pay you? How much was 45 minutes of
Oh, I
your
billed
time
him
worth?
I billed him $100.
You billed him $100.
Yeah, I billed him $100. Her and sure enough, dude, they actually they didn't pay me. They took it off. Yeah. To be fair, so and I guess she probably got a kick out of that. Yeah, she probably got the kick out of that when eventually I got to her. But dude, I'm not showing up at 11:00 to be seen at 12:15.
Yeah.
That's bullshit.
Yeah, and
I will
doctors'
say,
offices do that, and I'm like,
do that a
what
lot.
is
You go to SoCal Men's Health?
No, I don't.
I actually like them because typically, like, when you go for your appointment, you're like sitting there for 5 minutes.
Oh, I love that.
You're sitting there for
Yeah,
5
not at
minutes.
Cedars.
Like
Yeah.
everything's done on the app. Like, I can access like anything I need to on my app
Where is that?
on Sunset.
Okay.
That
Is that?
Sunset, like almost across the street from Boa, like that far down Sunset. But like, that's probably the first doctor's office that I've been to that in here in LA that like they're pretty. For at least for me, in my
I would love
experience,
to hear
they're
people's
just
feedback
like
on this, because the shit has been out of control, man. It's like a given
Was
that
this
you're
like
going to
your
wait an
PCP?
hour.
Yeah.
Huh?
Was this like your PCP or was this like a specialist? 'Cause
No,
maybe there's like a-
my internal medicine, I'm all with Cedars, but she happens to now have moved to Tarzana. And this has been just like for 2 years now. And every time I go to Cedars, man, it's like, even this one time I showed up at the Tapper Center, it's like an 8:30 appointment, and I'm not seen till freaking like almost 11. And it's like everybody's just sitting there
11?
waiting.
oh hell no,
Yeah, dude.
that's
I mean,
3 hours.
No, dude, everybody's waiting. I'm like, dude, I walked up to the front. And again, when I get moody, man, I get real moody when I feel it's justified, right?
Yeah.
And And I'm like, why am I on time if it means nothing?
Also,
You know
if
what
you
I mean?
knew I was going to not get seen until 11, why am I not coming on it until 10:45
Exactly.
or
Thank
I
you
feel
something?
like
very
if it's
much. You know
something
what I mean?
more so like a basic like checkup or whatever it is, like with my PCP, I've never had to wait any longer than probably maybe 10 minutes on average, I would say.
Oh, you must have a good
Um,
gynecologist. I mean.
but
I always have to wait an hour.
yeah, because you got to get clean first. Clean it up. Um, no, so it's very rarely. I feel like whenever I try to get a referral for something and I have to go see a specialist because maybe they might run into a case that I don't know how often that might happen where they get like backed up and that pushes
Yeah.
people appointments later. I feel like that would be more happening in that situation versus like
Yeah, no, it's been really bad, man.
like every time.
If I look back at the last 15 years, man, it's always the doctor's office. Always something doctor related where that's, I guess, just accepted. And I'm like, nah, dude, my time is money too. So I stand up for myself, be proud of your time and respect it. Yeah. Yeah. Do as I say.
Share that invoice with us so
Yes.
we can get some money back
Yeah,
too.
Well, no, and I went, you know how Cedars has the message your provider, but it doesn't go straight to the
Yeah,
doctor,
yeah.
it goes to the front desk.
Yeah. They
So,
filter.
yeah, and I kind of did chat GPT and I said, make it angry but professional.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I'm smart enough to do that. And sure enough, it was like a really nice thing. Yeah, we apologize. You're right. And we decided to take, it was like $92. I know I did come up with that from the bill. And I was like, okay, now I'm happy.
Respect.
Respect, you know what I mean? So, ladies and gentlemen, we are going back to our amazing segment, which we received great feedback on: pure genius or pure insanity. Pure genius or pure insanity?
Oh my God, I have a
This is where we ask each other a topic that the other person doesn't know is coming, and we're going around the table and then back around the table, and everybody gets to ask everybody something to which they have to respond if it's pure genius or pure insanity. And we're going to start. You know what? I'm going to start the other way around, or should I start this way? Which one should we?
whatever
should
you
we-
wanna
You know,
do.
I'm going to start with you. I'm going to keep
Moderator.
it. I'm all about tradition, and we're going to start today with Theo. Don't read too deep into that.
Tradition.
I'm all about tradition with my terrorist accent. Yeah, that makes really sense. Theo, we're going to start with you, and this is such a great segment. I love this segment. Pure genius or pure insanity. I woke up this morning. I go to my Yahoo thing, when I drink coffee. I'm just like a sucker for whatever they tell me on the front page to do. I'm reading that Snow White is an absolute failure, a disaster at the box office. I love Snow White. It was one of my favorite things growing up. Just another thing that Disney managed to butcher after they ruined pretty much everything else. I guess Snow White is now Colombian. Nothing against Colombia. Chill the fuck out. I'm not a racist. I'm not a Nazi. I'm not a fucking just take a fucking breath there. Okay, she's now Latina, pretty dark skin. She is a Palestine supporter.
This is the actress you're talking
The actress,
about.
yeah. She's
Okay.
a Palestine supporter in a country that's team Jewish. I'm team Jewish,
Okay.
and or Israel, I should say, and very fucking smart. So you finally have a gig. 10 billion struggling women here, and you manage to self-shoot yourself, blow your head off in a great career. The movie is tanking. It is absolutely fucking miserable. For you who don't know, real quick before Theo answers, the whole point of Snow White is that she's white as snow. The whole point of why the queen hates her is because she's jealous of her because she's prettier. In this movie, you have Gal Gadot, which looks fucking hot in her latex outfit. And the lead actress looks like the retard that she is. And yes, I'm using that word. If you don't like it, tune out. It's a free country. So the fact that Disney finds themselves in this DI bullshit where they felt like they had to, it would have been offensive to hire a Snow White actress to play Snow White, and they went with a Colombian, which we all know was not by accident. And then people wonder why people vote for Trump. Was that? And by the way, the movie right now is I think it's 40 million out of a whatever $300 million budget and all kinds of shit. It's a complete disaster.
What's the budget?
I think but by the time the reshoots are done, I think we're pushing 300 mil, 300 before. I mean, it's up there. It's really crazy shit. And the movie is absolute disaster. It's a 1.5 rating on IMDb right now. I looked it up 10 minutes ago. Out of 10, nothing about it is any. And you're an actor, or we're an actor. No respect for the source material. I want Snow White no more to be Latina than I want Shaft to be white. You know,
You don't want Snow White to be a Latina any more than you want Shaft to be white.
yeah, Shaft,
Okay,
the,
no,
the
no, no.
show.
I'm just
yeah,
repeating what you said.
Richard
I know what
Roundtree,
you said.
Shaft,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
is
I
my
know
favorite
what you're
childhood
talking
show.
about.
Yeah. If it's all fucking purpose, that's the charm. He's fucking black in New York. You know what I mean? I don't need him to be played by Tom Hanks. So on Disney's part, Theo, was that a pure genius move or pure insanity?
What move to cast her?
Yes.
I don't really know a lot about this movie. I when I did see that, because I saw the girl's name. Her name is
Zellweger or whatever it is.
Rachel Zegler.
Zegler, sorry.
That seems to
I
me
butchered
like
that.
Is she Colombian?
That's what I was gonna say. It sounds like to me that maybe she's like mixed. She's probably mixed ethnicity. Maybe her mother's Colombian. And
You know
her
what?
father
While
is
you talk,
white.
let me look it up. So fact check myself. On this show, we actually do that.
Sure.
Yeah, go for it.
Maybe her, like I said, maybe her mother is Colombian. Maybe her father is white. She identifies as Colombian. When I saw that, oh, this is a Colombian actress, I was like, okay, well, that's cool. Let's just see what happens. But that's just my like open-mindedness, you know. I know it's called.
Yeah, she's Colombian and Polish descent. Identifies as Colombian.
Yeah, right. Of course. I'm like, let her have the opportunity to do it. Like, I mean, is it pure? Okay, question. Did they know that she was this? She was, because they would like her to not be this outspoken about things, I'm sure.
No, they had meetings
Did
with
they
her.
know
They tried to censor.
Yeah,
her.
they tried. Well, not censor. No,
I'm saying, did they
in
know
all
this
fairness,
has-
they were like, dude, you fucking doing pro policy. We're trying to promote a movie. I mean,
They-
even
they
if you're
wanted to
white, you
censor
know.
her.
Yeah.
Wait. I want to know if they knew this about her before they.
And she doesn't know what the fuck she's talking about.
Probably
she's a fucking
not.
idiot.
They probably
she's a
didn't
moron.
know that. If they're gonna,
And by the
they're
way,
probably gonna put like a grenade there if they knew it was gonna blow.
Dude, we're struggling. If you finally get a gig at Disney movie, are you that fucking dumb?
True.
Okay,
Are you
now hold on.
That's a whole
Hold
different story.
on.
Go on. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so is it pure insanity that they cast her? Is it pure genius that they cast her? Clearly, it turned out to be pure insanity because of the direction that things.
Well, with respect to the results now, yeah, I'm talking
Yes.
before that.
I mean,
yeah.
okay, but before that, I would like to say it was pure genius only because I'm on the bandwagon of, I would like representation, you know, in the world in the form of film, you know. And that this little girl, somebody watching this movie, seeing this girl who identifies as Latina being Snow White, can have her own little, you know, dream of, you know, being Snow White. I don't know. Representation is very.
But you don't need to do it at the cost of something of the source material.
But they didn't know that was going.
Bond does not need to be a woman. It's. But okay, go ahead. You say it's poor genius. That's the beauty of this country. He can say it's poor genius.
I'm saying it's pure genius in that sense of the way I just.
And now we know why people vote the way they do.
For representation, I think it's important.
Yeah.
So nobody can ever be Snow White except for a white woman, but she can be like a light-skinned Colombian and, you know, like a fair-skinned Colombian.
Why not
you know?
write something that's specifically for her to represent? Why do you?
Because it's like
that's
who
the
owns
insanity
the
thing.
fairy tale or who owns like,
Correct.
you know, like why can't somebody else do that? Why can't they put somebody else in that role?
Dude, you're calling a movie Snow White, and the source.
Well, compared to okay, we're just talking about the woman's skin. She is white.
No, she's Snow
She's
White.
white.
She's
okay?
Snow White.
But she's white. If we're just talking about her skin, right?
Yes.
Okay, so she's
Yeah.
white, and you can call it Snow White, whatever. But like, I just,
And Zegler isn't.
I'm not.
So you say it's genius?
I'm saying I'm going two different directions here. I'm saying it was genius in the beginning because I feel like representation is important. On the other hand, with her being the outspoken person that she is and being in the news the way that she is, it ended up being their downfall for this movie. So in that sense, it's pure insanity.
Oh, gosh. The problem is it's forced representation, dishonest representation. And to me, yeah, okay. But hey, pure genius we got, round one.
guess what?
Oh, that's right.
But
Remember,
guess
we're
what?
keeping score.
But hold on one second. Guess what?
But you got to pick one. You can't have both.
I just want to say something. You as a white man, it doesn't matter that you're from Europe, but you as a white man, you never have to worry about seeing yourself anywhere in media, you know, and feeling like if you're from like the wrong side of the tracks, that you see somebody that's doing well and succeeding in maybe a role that was like originated by somebody who didn't look like that person, But like now there's somebody in that role that looks like that person, and that gives that person hope that they have a possibility to reach that height in life. That's something you've never had to think about in your entire life. Have you ever thought about that?
I have,
Probably.
yeah.
How?
I think that's
in what way?
I think that's a profound statement to make. That
I'm just saying that in the sense of like saying that
Yeah.
representation is important. You're represented. You've been represented everywhere, all over the world.
the biggest mistake that black people in America make
What is that?
to think that racism is exclusive towards blacks.
I don't
No,
know.
no one's saying that.
Not this black person.
Well,
not this black person.
That's what you're implying. I never
No,
had to.
that's-
I can tell you, man.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying you never
what
had.
he
I'm
said.
not saying you never had to face racism. I'm not saying you never had to
Yeah,
face racism.
well,
What I'm saying
I guess-
is, what I'm saying is, you never had
That's
to.
a tricky statement, you
Listen,
know?
listen. I'm not saying you never had to face racism. What I'm saying is, you've never had to. Look somewhere, and you've always seen someone that looks like you in various parts of the world, in various roles in life. Like you've seen that your entire life. People like young Latina women, black people, minorities, like other minorities, like. You don't start seeing us represented on television until a certain period of time, and then you see us in these certain roles. Like the Latina woman is always like the house cleaner. The black person is always like the nanny or something, and that's something you never had to do.
Yeah, and
with,
guess-
because you were represented the whole time and the full spectrum
Well,
of life.
I don't know about that. I mean, listen, there's great people that do great things for their community. The Latin world has amazing writers, amazing producers, an amazing film industry. Tyler Perry, love or hate him, I don't care if you love or hate him, he's done amazing stuff for black people. It was like, I'm not going to go do exactly the Disney thing. And the reason why he's successful and he's authentic, and I love his stuff, and I love him, he's always been very nice to me, is because he's like, I'm going to write stuff to represent black people. I don't need to make Snow White black.
He also had to portray as a caricature to
Yeah.
Fair enough.
think
Fair
it's,
enough. But listen, the white thing. Let me tell you something. I have a great friend who's Jewish. The Jewish people had to come here. They're white as snow, and they had to change their name. Michael Douglas, that's not his real name. Kirk Douglas, they're Jewish names. Martin Sheen, Charlie Sheen, those aren't their real names. You know that, guys, right? Their real name is
I know
like,
that. Mm-hmm.
yeah, they're hardcore Jewish, and they couldn't get. So this whole, this black.
Sheen.
Martin Sheen that's not his real name.
I
Charlie
know,
Sheen,
but
yeah,
they're not Jewish.
They are. My friend, look it up.
Not Sheen. They're they're Basque. They're Spanish.
No.
Yes.
No, Estevez, that's a different kid he had. Charlie Sheen is Jewish. Michael Douglas, Kirk Douglas, Jewish. All Jewish people that had to change their names.
But Sheen is he's Basque. He's Spanish.
Well, anyway, a lot of Jews had to change their names because, so the whole representation, man, yeah, listen, black people had a tough deal in America, but let me tell you something, man. You're not the only ones, all right? And this whole notion, listen.
But that wasn't what I was saying.
Yeah, no, I get it. But the point is,
Yeah.
people vote a certain way they do. And to me, it's offensive to cast her in that role because what you're doing is you're just repeating
You're
the same
offended
evil.
by her. You're offended by her being cast in the role.
100% I am. I'm
Offended.
absolutely offended. It appears the majority is. It appears the world is. And I will be as offended.
Who
If-
wrote the?
I will be as offended if somebody cast Shaft, a white actor to play Shaft. I'll be as offended.
It's a
I wouldn't go
fairy
see the
tale.
movie.
It's a fairy tale.
Would you
That's
be that
irrelevant.
offended?
He wouldn't be that offended.
I will absolutely.
Fucking shit.
I absolutely
Okay.
would because I grew up in Europe with the Hollywood movies and the whole kind of black thing has Eddie Murphy, Beverly Hills Cop.
So we have to be one
Shaft.
thing. You're walking down the wrong.
No,
Wrong road. Wrong road.
you're trying to tell me you wouldn't be offended if Beverly Hills Cop came out with a white actor?
No.
Not really.
Well, okay then. God bless you.
But
I would be.
at the same time, you're talking about minority groups who are underrepresented versus a group that is overly represented.
Exactly.
It's not the
And
same thing.
Exactly. But you don't understand that part. I don't understand why you don't
Yeah,
understand that part.
I think you guys are missing the point. So,
No, we got the
so,
point.
so
You're
then,
missing the point.
so then the source material doesn't matter.
The source material, it's a kid's story fairy tale. So they can change it up for different people so that they feel like they can be represented. Like, why change the name from Snow White? What change? Mocha Brown? Like, I don't know. Is that going to be the name of the new movie when they put a Latina in the role?
I mean, there's
like,
also
come
been,
on.
There's also been white people in roles that weren't white, like Jake Gyllenhaal in Prince of Persia. He Persian.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. That's happened so many times.
Yeah.
Well, we have a first.
Cleopatra, Elizabeth Taylor as Cleopatra.
Okay.
Like,
Bullshit.
Bullshit what?
It's bullshit casting.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's a
okay.
complete bullshit casting.
It's
the word, and even then it was a scandal today. It's still a bullshit casting, and I'm the first. It's a complete bull. It's an insult. And even remember how Egypt.
That would be an insult. I don't think the Snow White situation is an insult.
There's a big thing with Egypt then, where Egypt even filed something, or I can't remember. Don't quote me, but there was a big deal with that. Okay. Egyptians were offended. Right. They were legitimately
the 60s?
No, they weren't. No, look it up. Don't quote me, but I remember.
I don't think their voice got very heard.
You asked me the question. You asked me the question. I said what I said.
He thinks it's genius, Mike.
I said I'm in. You know.
Well, now you got to pick. We're scorekeeping again.
We're not
who
keeping
won
score.
last time?
It was
Genius.
even.
Oh, it was even.
I think broke it even.
Oh shit. Okay, so you got to go with one.
Based on my argument, I'm going to say pure genius.
We have one score. And don't forget to do a nice animation. Clink,
I'm
clink,
not
clink,
going
clink.
through all that drama. It's not happening. Not happening.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have our first genius. Okay, so it's 1-0 for genius. It's his call. He gets to answer. 1-0. Theo for Duane.
All right. So I have a question for you, but I want to give you a little background.
Ooh.
Okay.
There's a YouTuber who spent $14,000 to transform himself into a dog, and he opened a zoo where people can become animals.
This is in America?
This is in Japan.
Oh, the Japan guy. Yeah.
He went viral across social media because he showed off this dog outfit that he made, and he looks almost exactly like a dog.
Yeah.
So then in October of 2024, he announced that he's going to be opening a zoo where you can become the animal. And a reservation must be made 30 days in advance, and just over $315 for one person to become a dog for 180 minutes. There are deals for pairs and trios who want to get the most out of the experience. So this is a man who created a dog costume.
I'm aware of this.
Have you heard of it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've seen it.
So
I've
then,
seen it. Yeah, he walks around the
So
park.
then, amongst all, this was a dream of his since he was a young boy. So I don't really feel like it's a money-making scheme.
No.
But based on all of this information, well, the first question I want to ask you is, would you want to experience this? Because, life should be full of experiences, no matter how crazy they are.
No.
Moving on.
And then,
We don't need to talk about that at length.
It looks like we're heading for a
Why?
tie.
is this man's move to open up? I mean, what is that subgroup of like people called?
Like Furbies and
Insane
Yeah,
people.
yeah, okay, yeah.
Because that's what I'm thinking of when
Yeah,
you're saying all
yeah.
this to me.
So, is it pure genius or is it pure insanity that this man decided to open up a zoo where people can come and dress as animals and live out their fantasy? I mean, $315 for one person for 180 minutes. What is that? That's like $100, half an hour.
$80 an
Yeah.
hour, $85. Jeez.
That's not bad. Was this a pure genius move or pure insane or pure insanity?
I say we're heading towards a tie.
I'm gonna go with pure insanity because first of all, like the only way that it would be genius is if there was a demand for it. Like let's look. I'm trying to look at this objectively. Like, if
Good
there-
luck.
If there's so, what popped in my head was like those people that like to dress up like as like teddy bears or something like that, and it's like a whole sexual experience for them. If there's some sort of like need out there to fulfill that, if that's somebody's kink, and he can capitalize on that, then it would be pure genius.
Fair enough.
But I can't. I don't think that everyone has this fantasy that he has,
right.
and wanting to because he's not. If I'm remembering correctly, because this is just thrown at me, I don't think it's that he just wants to like dress up as a dog. He wants to be one.
Right. Yeah. He
And
went
so,
viral for like
there's a
walking
difference
around.
between like playing, pretending, or role playing, or something like that, or like those people. There's like people that like to wear diapers. And stuff like that. But they don't want to be a baby. He wants to be a dog, and that seems like we've got a mental health care issue. What he's trying to do is have a bunch of people that have the same mental health, and then not to talk shit about people with mental health. I'm a strong advocate of that, and have that's people have their issues, but that is just like enabling.
Agreed.
That Togo explained his decision to open the zoo in a YouTube video. I quote, "I dreamed about being an animal since I was a child.
Yeah, I remember that.
And when I grew up, my dream came true in the form of a costume."
Wow.
Well, and that's he's not hurt anybody. I think it's crazy. So like, fine, but the idea of opening up this whole park seems like it's going to be a waste of money and pure insanity.
Why don't you go to the
is,
website?
Is there? I would need to do more research.
Yeah.
Is there a demand for this? Are there others like him?
Ladies and gentlemen.
If so, by all means, y'all congregate.
Ladies and just out of curiosity, real quick, genius or insanity? What do you think? Not that it matters; it's his call, but for scoring. But what do you
I think obviously I think it's insane.
Okay, cool.
But I mean, how big? This is the website for the zoo. I want to see how big the zoo is. I wonder, like, if it's like
Do you really need to know?
I like to say, wait, who gives a fuck?
Do you want? Remember when we talked about going down
bigger the
rabbit
worse.
holes?
The bigger the worse.
This is why I don't like group chats.
No, you're asking about demand. You're asking about demand, so I'm saying, like, if it's like a small plot of land and there's like, I don't know, 2 cages or something.
There's also demand for
that's not gonna cost you
fethanol.
that much
But
money.
all right.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen,
I don't know.
we have a tie. Ooh, this is gonna be exciting. I love this segment. I love it so much. Oh, all
right.
I love the show. I love the show. We get to talk about real stuff. All right, it's 1-1. It's Duane's turn for yours truly.
Marko.
Insane. Good. Moving on.
Shut up. As our so stupid. As our resident straight man, I wanted to ask you this question. Whoever was the author was basically saying that there's this kind of. I think we're moving into an era of more sexual freedom. Let me just give this context.
Summer of love.
And there's becoming, as when we were growing up, like there was LGBT, and then there's LGBTQ, and there's more defined lines. But we're moving into this era where I think people are kind of moving away from labels. Of like I define myself as a gay man. There is fluidity there that I acknowledge, and I'm fine with that. And if you want to label me bi, fine. I'm not offended by that label either. But it's just easier to go with the gay term. This being said, there are people and I'm asking as a straight man, and this could be pertain to women as well, where they say I don't do labels. But this author was just saying, he's like, they felt like that's just gay, bi, pan, or fluid for basically saying, I want all the sexual benefits and I don't want any of the responsibilities and consequences with actually having to live your truth publicly. And do you think, so my question to you is it pure genius for those who maybe don't fall into one category. They don't want to own the label, the badge of fluid or pan or bi. Is it pure genius for them to just say, I don't like labels and cop out, or is that pure insanity? And I
love it. I love it. It's a little bit like Theo, kind of the same thing. Like he felt about Snow White. I see the insanity part and the genius part in it. Because in a way, but I got to judge from like my perspective, right? First, I put myself
however you want to do it.
I like to put myself in the driver's seat like in their seat, I should say, if they were the driver. So it's a cop out. It kind of relieves you from that responsibility. Listen, just because you say you don't fall into a category doesn't mean you don't.
Right.
Yeah, I can say I'm an elephant. I identify as a woman, as a child, as a gay. It doesn't matter.
That guy isn't a dog.
Yeah, exactly. You can identify as a fucking dog. It doesn't matter. You're still a human being.
Yeah.
You understand? I don't care what you identify with. I respect it. Mm-hmm. I don't have to like it, but I have to respect it because if I ask for respect in return, I think I'm gonna go with insanity because I think it's a little bit cowardly to me, and I don't buy it because I don't buy for 1 second that first and foremost, when you're in the minority of anything, immigrant, black, gay, trans, you gotta have incredible confidence to be open about it.
Especially trans.
Right, especially trans. Yeah, and I don't buy that you have that confidence to come out with saying you're not straight, but then you don't have, the confidence to, where you fall. Mm-hmm. You know where you fall. You might lie about it. You can be in denial about it, but let me tell you something. And I was the master of denial. That's why I always had the last word. I was right, but I was broke. And I tell you, you still know where you fall. Mm-hmm. So it's bullshit.
Yeah,
it's cowardly. It's bullshit. And this whole, I don't fall in any category, bullshit. You know what? That tells me all the more, that you do.
Yeah.
But you're too good to be in that one category. You're too, entitled to be in that. So you want to be open-ended for everything and everybody. That's how I look at it. So I don't find it just. I find it insanity just because I find it cowardly and I find it insincere. So therefore, I'm linking it to insanity. It's not really insanity, but it can't be genius.
Yeah.
It can't be. Genius is fucking. Hey, I'm proud of who I am. If you don't like it, fuck you.
So I was gonna. The reason.
Does that make sense?
I was. Yeah, you make perfect sense, and I loved a lot of the points that you made, and I'm teetering on that side of things. However, I also was like, okay, let me try to look at this objectively, not just from like the driver's seat. And I was like, well, some people, maybe they don't know, maybe they don't fully know, maybe they're experimenting and figuring that out, or maybe some people just don't like maybe they're not running away from the consequences and the full weight that we have to wear as gay men. We can't run away from being black because people could see us, but like, and I don't want to. I would never want to. But like, there's I came out later in life because of those consequences.
Right.
But I felt like there was some like this gray area where it's like, okay, well maybe people just don't like the labels. Maybe they're not being cowardly. But I do kind of agree on some. I guess I haven't fallen on.
Well, you know what?
And because it's on some level, I'm thinking you get to do what you want to do.
I'll do you one better. I'll do you one better,
Yeah.
and because I think it's a great learning experience. Like I said, like I learned from the gay community, having worked and hanging out and having friends and vice versa. For the straight people in general, not for me, because I like to be, or I take pride in wanting to research stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Most people aren't like that.
Right.
Most people are just they call them the 99% for a reason. They just follow and do as told. And I don't think so much that people don't support it. I think they're starting to I think that a lot of those terms are starting to lose credibility with the straight crowd. Mm-hmm. Because it went, it was like every week there's three new colors on the flag. Every week there's another fucking 5 letters. And that's what I'm saying. That's how I feel. I'm telling you. I'm now talking how the white man in America generally feels, right? Mm-hmm. And at some point to them, it becomes a little bit of a all right. I don't know if laughable or farce is the right thing. How they look at it, I don't know what the right word is, but they just stop taking it serious.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's what I've noticed in the straight community. They're just like, all right, dude, you got what is it now? LGBTQZ1. How many colors do we have now on the flag? That's how they feel.
A plus.
Yeah. It's become and you know what? Let me tell you something.
It needs to stop.
Listen, for me personally,
it's a lot for us now.
And again, I can talk like that because I'm coming from a place of support versus from a place that
Yeah.
And it's come to a point. It's like, dude, I fucking can't keep up. You guys can't keep up. There's like a whole thing, and we're getting to that in a second, but so I think it has a lot to do with that, where people just kind of can't keep up with it anymore. Now, and also, you say fluid. I know what you mean, but trust me, Jim at work, dude, he's gonna stick with you can't be gender fluid. You're a man or a woman. Now, what you identify with.
That's not what he means.
I'm not gender fluid. I'm talking about like their orientation is fluid.
Oh, okay, yeah. See, I wouldn't know the difference.
Like
See,
their
that tells you
orientation,
exactly.
Maybe
Yeah.
But
that would be part of the community too.
Yeah. And white people, sorry, not white people, straight people in general they just kind of are catching up to, okay, you can get married, we're equal, you're gay, lesbian, straight, trans. They can't even process the 4 terms. You're giving them 14 more per week. You know what I mean? I think there's the issue that I see.
I'm
purposely exaggerating. I'm purposely exaggerating.
You're saying that's how they feel.
Correct.
They feel that there's 14.
Correct. I'm exaggerating on purpose because I know that's how they feel.
Right.
Because I'm lucky to be on both sides. You see, most people, they don't have this table.
Right.
And then the other table. You know what I mean? So pure insanity for me on this one.
Pure insanity.
Duane, the other way around we go.
Okay.
Today, I woke up and in California, apparently Gavin Newsom has signed this law into effect that when you get a speeding ticket now, depending on your income level and demographic, it will be determined if you have to pay the whole fine or a portion thereof. Mm-hmm. So they're going to they have these speed cameras. And I guess if you're homeless, if you're unemployed, if you're this demographic, that demographic.
Homeless and got a car?
Exactly. No, true story. Yeah,
Well, I mean,
they live in their car. They live in their car.
That's right.
So now instead of it being $200 for everybody, and the law is justice is supposed to be blind, the same law for everybody. But now again, California is they're saying, Newsom said, you know what, you're going to take that speeding ticket. We're going to now analyze who you are. You can file that. I'm sure you read it this morning, and you know if you're white, straight, black, I don't know what the fucking things are. But the bottom line is there's going to be categories. Okay, and depending on that category, you might not be liable for let's just for argument's sake say $300 speeding ticket. It could be less or more. Okay, is this something that's just wow, fucking pure genius, brilliant? Why did nobody else come up with that? Or is this just another California insanity that puts us where we are, where we are in the first place? And I honestly don't have an opinion on this, by the way. That's funny. I'm that open-minded that I don't have an opinion on this.
I did not hear about this.
Did you? No, you didn't. Okay.
So I definitely going to look into this later, but just based off of that information,
I gave you the gist initially. Yeah,
just based off the information that you just gave, I would say, I personally think I'm gonna have to go with insanity because I think that I'm gonna. I think that since it's not equal, it's fair, and you're discriminating. You're going to be able to say that you're discriminating against people based on their income level and maybe their socioeconomic status, or maybe it's just their economic status. I think I think that if someone needs assistance because they are struggling, they're experiencing economic hardship. There should maybe be an avenue for that, or maybe we should look at our traffic violation system, because when you get a ticket in California, the ticket at the end of the day is astronomical.
It's insane.
The ticket's $200.
Yeah. It's
but
insane.
they double it because of this, and then you have all these fees on top of it. So what was it $200 is now $800.
It's really $800,
and that's not an exaggeration at all.
Yeah.
So.
The parking violation is $75.
I guess even when I think about that, it's like someone who's they're living below the poverty line, they're homeless, or they're unemployed, they're in transition. To ask them to pay $800 is crazy.
It's insane to begin with.
Because you're putting them further. You're putting another roadblock for them that they already can't dig themselves out of the hole that they're in. So I think that it's insane to just say, based on your income level, you'll fall into different brackets when it comes to the ticket violation price.
Or the law in general.
The law in general. I feel like making the law is putting, you're basically codifying some sort of discrimination and treating people differently. I do think it's okay to have an avenue, though. If you are unemployed or you're experiencing economic hardships, you apply for that. Prove that you're having economic hardship, and then we can help you out.
Got it. Cool.
Insane.
We're going with insane. Where's the score? 2-1 for genius?
I said genius.
Genius, insanity. Oh, 2-1 for insanity. Yeah. It's an insane world, ladies and gentlemen. The insanity is winning, but we're not done yet. We still have 2 left. There goes Duane to Theo.
All right, Theo.
And by the way, just because David asked me, a fan of ours, nobody knows what we're asking each other, right? So it's awesome. It's really cool. All right, Duane, Theo. This is gonna.
All right, so this is another article that I was reading. The social and it was this. Okay, I'm trying to see how I can put this in context. So the article was talking about men cheating. Mm-hmm. And it was saying that 8 out of 10 men cheat. Now, I didn't read where they were getting this resource from.
I was going to say.
This probably isn't Gallup polls.
Their friend down the street. Jerome down the street.
Did you just survey X amount of men? But then they go on to list, all the different reasons why men cheat. Mm-hmm. And a lot of them are pretty valid. Mm-hmm. But
it's valid.
Not valid,
I know what you mean.
Valid in the sense that, I understand why, there's
why
a lot of there's issues that aren't necessarily in the relation. Well, this is part of the relationship, but maybe beyond their control. But doesn't mean that it doesn't give them a pass to do what they're doing either. Okay. But this article, I felt like the tone was trying to give men a pass to cheat. Basically saying that it's because that's so prevalent and it is in our nature. And if you think about like the way society view things, maybe from like let's say from the 70s back, it was kind of expected for men to cheat.
Right.
Women just sort of put up with it.
Yeah.
Right.
But they were. I felt like they were making that. Making a statement or the stance that because it's so prevalent and because men are the way they are and because of all these different issues, the partner of men, whether they're men or a woman, should just accept that that's part of nature.
Ooh.
Is that pure genius or pure insanity?
Damn, that's a big one.
Is it pure genius that the
To-
pair should just accept that it's going to happen because that's in men's nature?
And let me define cheating as this has not been talked about.
Okay.
Because that's cheating. Like
Right,
it's
right.
not an open situation.
Right.
And probably all of us have cheated or done something at one point, but
Oh, yeah, in college, man.
I don't even have to admit to that. But I think that happens.
Yeah, I mean, is it pure genius that they should just accept it and just roll with it?
Their assertion is that should just be like this social expectation for that, and that partners of men should just expect that.
I feel that's pure genius only because I feel like in this modern day and age, I think women have just gotten used to, I know you're saying it was 70s and past that, but I feel like in this day and age now, we have so many other things to distract us. And I think that's something that has just been, it's just kind of been a way of life, to be honest. It's just kind of been like women have always assume that a man is going to cheat, and and a lot of times I think it becomes self-fulfilling prophecy because maybe the man isn't doing something, and then do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
they kind of like what the Uber driver is saying. You focus on the negativity,
right?
You're going to start behaving that way, and then that's what ends up happening.
And I feel like I think it's something that maybe a lot of women tell their daughters or just pass that down. Your father was never that way, but like
not even
I don't
women,
know.
but even with the partner, like
Such
the partner of a man is a man. Should you just accept?
In that particular situation, I think yes, these are two men. It's all. Obviously, men fall in love with each other, but there's a very big physical component to it. And then I feel like after, and also within couples, gay couples, like maybe someone has more of a sex drive than the other one has, and you know that about each other, and you decide that you're going to stay together because you love this person, you want to be with this person, but understanding this person has more of a drive than you do, and that's maybe not something you want. So then you have to be just okay with after having a conversation and discussing that, allowing that to happen. I think
That's not cheating though, because you're having a discussion.
that's true.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true. That's an open relationship.
I
I just feel like in the sense of just like, moving forward, like, and it's out there as like, just so you know, that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Is what it sounds like. Just so you know that this does happen, and it happens a lot. How many marriages end in divorce?
Over half now.
Yeah, over half. So it's just like, this is something that I think you would be naive as a woman to not think about and consider. Don't let it like obviously take over your entire life, but like to be aware. And I think it goes with gay couples too. But I think that's something that gay couples will probably just more expect. Gay men anyway, not lesbians.
It's so different. So weird how you're right. How gay couples have a different approach to this than like traditional.
But I will say
two men understand
Yeah.
that we can have
The penis
can be
desire.
like-
Yeah.
we
no,
can
that's-
also
say
be
the penis desire. That's stupid. Or the ass desire.
emotionally detached.
Depends on where you're coming from.
Emotionally detached, but a lot of times the issue with cheating isn't the physical part.
It's the trust.
The trust.
It's the trust.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And-
But by the way, gay or straight, for a man, sex can't just be an act. And for a woman, there's always supposedly they say an emotional
No,
aspect
no, for a woman, it can be an act too.
But no, of
I
course,
think they
yeah,
can
no,
be more
yeah,
emotionally attached and tend to like
Yeah.
that. But
I'm
can
talking
they have,
generally.
Can
yeah,
they have
yeah,
sex
yeah.
and be
No,
emotionally
trust
attached?
me.
Yes, they can.
And by the way, you know I'm
Yes,
right.
they
You know
can.
how I know you're right?
Yeah.
Because my own mother sent me down once and told me, "You're not going to believe this. Trust me, women can be worse than men." And when I was in corporate and traveling to a lot of hotels, not to take time, I'm telling you, I've seen behavior from married women that puts behavior from men to shame. Just so
When you get
we're
away from
clear.
that house,
Just so we're clear.
those kids.
I told him to pick up his dirty underwear.
So you're going with Genius?
Yeah,
Holy shit, we have a tie?
Yeah.
Dude, I'm going to be
I
the
don't think
tiebreaker.
I don't think it's insanity to let people know that men cheat. And
Agreed.
So just deal.
Holy
You know,
shit,
not
we
deal,
have
but
a
like, you know what I
tie,
mean.
dude. We have a tie. We have a tie. Oh my God. Oh,
Okay,
Hit
well,
me.
I'm
Hit
gonna
me.
I'm gonna take things in a different
Ooh,
direction.
I'm going to be a
Question.
tiebreaker. I like it. Hey, you want to hear my fake moan?
Oh, Samantha.
No, what's
Sloppy mess, girl.
I make a great woman fake moan.
Okay, fine. Go for it. The
I don't
audience
want to
wants
hear
to
it.
hear it.
I don't want to hear it.
audience does.
No. I don't need that in my head. All right.
You know what? I agree.
All
Yeah.
right. Your boy.
Next episode. Okay.
Your boy during his
Who's my boy?
Well, let me get it out.
Uh.
During his joint address to Congress on March 4th.
Oh, Trump. I don't know if he's my boy.
He honored the widow of slain New York Police Detective Officer Jonathan Diller, vowing to strengthen
For which no
protections for
Democrats
law
stood.
enforcement.
Yeah. Pathetic. Yeah.
Le-
Gory, sorry, Gory.
thank you,
Yeah,
thank you.
yeah.
Trump stated that he signed an executive order requiring a mandatory death penalty for anyone who kills or murders a police officer is convicted. Killing or murdering a police
Oh, yeah, prove it. Okay.
Several bills have been introduced that would impose the death penalty for those convicted of killing law enforcement officers, though none of them have yet to become a law. And so, with the president's pardon of nearly 1,600 individuals, more than 600 of whom were charged with felony of assaulting or impeding law enforcement, has taken the focus away from what police officers endured that day. And he was blasted online for this pardon after he praised police during his speech to a joint session of Congress. And about 140 officers were injured, including Brian Sicknick, who died.
Oh, you're talking January 6th. Okay, yeah.
Who died the following
disgraceful
day.
Yeah.
And 4 officers who responded to that day have since died by suicide.
Right.
So he's wanting to, like, he said he signed this executive order. Anybody that murders or kills a police officer, I guess this is maybe like a 2-part kind of a thing. The first part being, is that pure genius or is that pure insanity? To try and get that put into law. Anyone who is convicted of killing or murdering a police officer, anyone, you're gone.
Yeah. Well, it's two things. You know, the pardon and January 6th is such a disgraceful day. And in all fairness, I don't know if he's my boy. Listen,
Answer the first part about, is this pure genius or pure insanity that he's trying to put this forward? Because the other thing is, that's the other second part of it.
No, I was just saying, because I don't know if it's so much that I voted for him as much as it is I voted against my old party, because I just feel like we lost our mind.
You're
you know
getting
what I mean?
revenge.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't revenge. It was like, dude, I mean, look at the behavior nowadays. I mean, that's not what the Democrats represent.
All right, so is it pure genius or is it pure insanity that he's trying to get this thing done?
I believe, like a lot of countries do, that if you are murder somebody, and of course it's proven and it's truly like you have it on camera. Let's say.
Not camera, but they do get convicted. But
they get convicted.
Wrongful convictions all the time.
No, if it's truly like a dash cam where you killed a cop. But the problem is, I don't feel like that about a cop. I feel like that about everybody. It doesn't matter if they kill a cop, me, you, Duane. I think you should lose your life. Now, we know that's not realistic because a prison system in America is big business.
Right.
So that's never going to happen like in other countries.
It's also not perfect.
Yeah.
Well,
Exactly.
Some of them didn't do it.
I don't care who signs that law. Biden, Trump, Kamala, I don't care. I am all for it. If you kill anybody and it's truly proven that you should be on
this
death
is pure
row.
Genius.
Well, I don't know if it's genius. I think it's more pure justice.
Because
it'd be weird for me to say. I'll give you my thought process. I'm kind of eliminating what doesn't work. It'd be hard for me to say it's insane to say, hey, somebody murdered your dad who was a cop, and you have him dead to rights on camera, and then for me to be like, well, he shouldn't lose his life. He should go and have a beautiful life in jail where he gets fed every day and he can play chess and work out and play basketball and be with his gangs. I feel I'm a very big eye for an eye guy.
Okay.
Let me tell you something. I'll give you another example. Let's say somebody beats you up because you're gay. Mm-hmm. Him going to jail and being out in 6 months, that's not enough for me. I think
You want him to be beat up too.
Well, in my perfect world, I know this is not realistic. I'm not 12 years old, but I like the eye for. Now, of course, you can't go beat him up. I get it, but I am a big eye for an eye guy because I've always been treated eye for an eye. Maybe that's what it is. And
So pure genius, pure insanity.
well, it's not genius, but it's definitely not insane.
Okay.
So I'm leaning towards genius. It's not genius,
It's not
You have to
genius.
pick one.
but it's not insane to ask if somebody kills
So then
somebody.
it's pure genius.
You have to go with genius.
You
Yeah.
going with genius?
I'm going with genius.
Okay, so I want to say very quickly.
So wait a second. You're saying if somebody kills a cop, they should.
I'm
be
saying
on
the
death
whole
row.
idea of this. Is it pure genius or is it pure insanity?
It'd be more insane to say it shouldn't be. So I'm going to go with genius. Yeah, because it'd be more insane for me to say if somebody murders somebody, they shouldn't be.
But we're talking about police officers here, and
Especially a law officer.
Well, you're talking about
Yeah.
seeing footage on camera. I'm just saying if somebody is convicted, and there's wrongful convictions in this country all the time, so it doesn't matter. So say something happens, and maybe somebody is trying to protect themselves from a police officer, and they murder this police officer, and they can't prove that it was self-defense, but it actually was, and this person gets the death penalty because he murdered. He is convicted of killing a police officer. So I think it's pure insanity. The other part of the question was.
But you're picking the exemption. No law system like
It's
Duane
just
said
this,
is.
the person is convicted. People, like I said, people get wrongfully convicted all the time. So
Yeah,
you're gonna murder somebody and they're wrongfully convicted,
But
and
not
then
the majority of people, I don't think. And I think with
Maybe not.
with today's technology, in today's world,
But you keep on talking about cameras. There's not
Yeah.
always footage of things that
Yeah.
happen, especially when it comes to
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The other part of it is it pure genius or pure insanity that he is even talking about.
well, you're
this
asking
considering-
two questions.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm asking-
And not only
No.
that, but you're relating it to another thing
no,
which has
no.
nothing to
Listen,
do.
well, let me talk. Let me talk. The first part of the
He's
question.
really on the Trump thing, man.
You're getting guided.
Yeah, I'm getting.
This is entrapment.
Objection,
part
leading
of
the witness.
The first part of the question you said was pure genius. You said it was pure genius, right?
No. Okay, you ask me if somebody murders a police officer.
I'm saying the idea of what he's wanting to do. Is it pure genius? Is it pure insanity?
Pure genius.
Okay.
100%.
The
And if
other-
Biden suggested it, it'd be pure genius
The
too.
other part of the question is it pure genius or pure insanity that he has the nerve, the unmitigated gall to say, to try and pretend like he's backing police officers when people died because of what happened on January 6th because of him.
Well-
Is that pure genius or is that pure insanity? That is the other part of the
you
question.
can go that vicious cycle. Hey, is it, how many angel moms do you have because of how open the border was? And you guys didn't stand for one of them. So if we want to go that route, we can be here for 9 hours. What I'm saying is, when you hate a guy as much as you hate him, you're going to find everything that's wrong with that guy. You see, the problem is, I'm not pro-Trump. I'm against the last 4 years. And I don't have a horse in the race because I didn't grow up with Republican, Democrat. I just know that the last 4 years have done big damage to the point where I jumped off.
Wait till the next 4.
Well, let me tell you something.
So it usually takes 4 years for it to.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And listen, you can sit and it's your God right to say the last 4 years were amazing.
I didn't say that.
You can say the Kamala is the best candidate ever, and that's great. But I think, and that's probably bigger. I don't have. I like I said earlier, if Biden suggested, hey, if you
But how hypocritical is that, though?
well, hypocrisy is politics, my friend. That's why it's so divisive now. But there's a big difference voting for somebody versus voting against somebody else, And I think if Biden said to me, hey, I want to put somebody who murders a cop on death row, I'd be all for it. If Kamala said it, I'll be all for it. So, if Obama said it, I'll be all for it. If Clinton said it, I'll be all for it. And I think they're all Democrats. So I think that if you murder somebody, you should lose your life. And that suggestion to me in itself is genius. More so, it's just. It's fair.
So both
If somebody murdered you and I have to watch them get out of jail 20 years from now, I wouldn't like that. I would prefer they die.
I never.
Especially if you were a cop.
But that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that I'm against that. With the death penalty, it's very tricky, But I'm just saying specifically, there have been I'm sure there have been situations in life where a police officer was murdered and it was not the intent for that person to murder that police officer, and maybe that person got convicted. And now moving forward, anytime something like that happens,
Yeah.
this person is automatically you're out.
Yeah,
know
but
what
you're
I'm
picking
saying?
something very specific out of that question. I'm talking about the
mean-
umbrella question. Hey, if you kill a cop, should you die? Yes. Now you're saying, hey, what if that guy's wrongfully convicted? I'm not a lawyer. I'm not an
Yeah,
expert.
if you kill-
I don't wear a black robe.
If you are intentionally trying to be a cop killer and you go and kill a cop, yes, sure,
and it's
absolutely,
happened, you know.
absolutely.
It's happened,
But that's not what I'm
you know.
saying.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. I don't know. I'm gonna go with, hey, if you kill somebody, lose your life. That's the umbrella I'm gonna stick with. Where does that put us?
that's interesting. Is it like that in Europe? I'm just curious to know. There's
Uh,
no death penalty in Europe, is there? I
you
mean, they
know-
used to hang them from the.
Well, yeah,
They used to
yeah.
do all kinds of shit. They used to stone them in the street.
Listen,
burn them.
In Europe?
Didn't
Go.
they stone people in the streets in Europe?
Yeah, they did back in the
Yeah.
well. Hey, Romania, Graf Dracul used to impale you. You know what I mean? But yeah, true story. But go to Brunei. You know, if
chop off shit.
go to
Left
Brunei, you
and
steal,
right.
you lose a limb.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something, man. You're not going to murder anybody in Brunei. You're not going to murder anybody in China.
It's very safe in Brunei, actually. This is like one of the safest countries.
Correct.
to be.
Guess where else
But
it's
there's
safe?
also extremely strict.
Well, you also get
Yeah.
killed for being gay. But
Yeah.
you know what I mean. You're not gonna murder a cop in Russia. You're not gonna murder a cop in Serbia. I'll tell you one thing. You're gonna murder a cop in Denmark. And guess what? You're not gonna murder a cop in China. And you're not going to murder a cop in Hong Kong and then go and sit 80 years in jail and watch TV and play basketball.
Yeah.
Because as far as I'm concerned, when you're a murderer, the treatment you get in jail here is good. You get away with murder, you know. So you get to eat every day.
It's hell.
You know. Well, it is, but you know what I'm saying. You're eating every day and you're housed. I think if you murder somebody, let alone a cop,
I think I would rather be dead than.
Agreed. Same here. Yeah. No. If I had to go to American prison,
Yeah.
I'd fucking hang
Yeah.
myself. I'd hang myself.
mean,
I'd hang myself. Yeah. I'd hang myself. Ladies and gentlemen, what's the score?
Is it even?
Oh fuck. Well, no, I was a tiebreaker. We were 2-2. So
Genius is 3-3.
So I'm going with Genius. 3-2. Genius wins. Ladies and gentlemen, hard to believe it's a genius world today. Hard to believe. Which is funny because he's right, it isn't.
Yeah, it's
But
not.
today,
It
Genius
is an
wins
insane one.
over an insanely awesome conversation. Well, I'll tell you one thing. In closing, because we're just on time, we're not going to get to my last segment. We're going to do it next time. But let me tell you guys, this is what makes this show great. You see, there's no filter, there's no political correctness. We put it how it is. We hope you enjoy that. And the best part is that we all leave tonight having learned something from one another. I learned a lot. It makes me go home and think about different points of view, and that in itself makes you a winner. Or if you're watching the show, a pure insane person. So,
Makes me want to think if I want to ever talk to Marko again.
well, no, it should make you feel the opposite. It should make you feel the opposite. We love you guys. Don't forget to subscribe, to love us, to comment, to follow us, and we will see you next
Share,
week, baby.
share.
Share.
Bye, guys.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.